Hello and welcome back into another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Farming Simulator 22, a game that I've never played on the channel before, but I play all the time in my personal time. If you like farming, let this just be a shout out here. I'll have a link in the description and probably also a pinned comment to my real life farming channel. So if you have any interest at all in agriculture in real life, or if you just like seeing me do stuff in real life, I guess, go ahead and go to that channel, subscribe to it, watch the videos. It's a lot of fun. I'm kind of just starting uploading onto it, so a lot of fun stuff going on over there. But with all that being said, we're playing Farming Simulator 22 today, and we're doing something that I like to do with this game. So I use mods in this game to basically make it more like the style of agriculture I'm more familiar with. I enjoy testing out all the fancy new gadgets and the new tractors and all that sort of stuff, but the stuff I am most interested in equipment-wise in the agricultural world is actually a bit older, which makes sense because I am a 90s kid, you know? So the stuff that I remember fondly is now very, very old by modern standards. So today's video is going to be for the Deutz DX Series, Deutz Fahr, and of course the small American brand Deutz Alice that only lasted about 5 years, are personally my favorite tractor manufacturer, especially during their air-cooled diesel period. I absolutely love these tractors. I've worked with them a lot in real life. And I've also worked with a lot of other tractors, and that's why I love the Deutzes so much. They're rugged, they're dependable, they're extremely user-friendly, they're excellent tractors, and they have tremendous lugging power. But with all that being said, Deutz is my favorite brand, so I figured I'd start off with a conversion for Deutz. And now, the most comprehensive lineup that I could find is right before you here. So these are all DX tractors. I've got videos on my farming channel explaining the various different DX series. Basically, you have the DX1 series, which is all of your standards. So like a DX90, a DX110, a DX160. All of those are in the first initial offering that starts in 1978. After that, the next iterations of the DX series are all the same iteration, but they have different series identification. So you'll see all the way from like a 4.30, so those are DX4s, but that's still only the second iteration. Same as the DX 6.10. There's DX3, here we go, we got a 3.65. So all of those are in the second one. The first number just indicates the size range, and the second part of the number, so the 1 or the 6.5 or whatever it may be, just indicates where they stand in that range. So these are all DX tractors, and I was able to find a fairly comprehensive lineup all the way from 75 horsepower up to 175 horsepower. And now not all of these are super accurate. Some of the designs are a little bit off, like this 120 here is super low down to the ground, and for a front wheel assist, the 120 sat significantly higher than that. But with all that being said, they are still pretty cool. They all operate very well, and they all sound like DX tractors, which is something I enjoy. Plus, another benefit of adding these older vehicles into the game through mods is that they are much cheaper to buy and obviously work just the same. Now that being said, you're not going to find anything on the high end, anything up over 200 horsepower, unless you find some sort of an engine swap mod, because they just didn't make DX tractors that big. The largest DX tractor was the 8.30. That was a 220 horsepower tractor. As far as I know, there is not a mod that adds that into the game. If there was, it would be right here, because that would be awesome for utility. But let's just go through these, and I will have the links for all these mods down in the description. Many of these tractors can be obtained right through the in-game mod menu when you're launching the game, but I prefer to just go to fs22.com. It's just more user-friendly, and there's a lot more options. So, I'll start by showing you them in the store. So, unfortunately, all of these fall under the small tractor category. That being said, when you get up to the 175 horsepower, you're getting up into the range of medium tractors, but when you've installed these mods, they'll be down on the end unless you have other mods that you've installed afterwards. But basically, you can see we've got a mod for the 120, a mod for the 140, then we have a mod for the 4 series, a mod for the 6 series, and then another half of the 6 series, and then a mod for the 3 series, but that's only the 3.65 tractor, which is a little bit strange, but we'll get into that. So in order of, I purchased them from smallest to largest to make this easy. So they're all under small tractors, and you can see that starting down at the smallest tractor we have is the Deutz Fahr DX 4.30. That has 75 horsepower, and going up from there, we have the DX 4.50 at 82 horsepower. Then we have the DX 4.70 at 90 horsepower, so all three of those are below 100. Our next is the DX 6.10, that's at 110 horsepower. Then our DX 6.30, that's 115 horsepower. Then we actually have two tractors that fall at 120 horsepower in this range. We have the DX 120, so that's part of the DX1 series, a tractor I've actually driven in real life. And then we have the DX 3.65, which is also at 120 horsepower. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if the 3.65 actually had 120 horsepower. That might just be something that the mod author put in there. I remember the DX3 series being the replacement for the 07 series, which were all smaller range tractors. But whatever the case is, here in the game it's 120 horsepower. Our next tractor in the lineup is the Deutz 6.50. That one comes in at 130 horsepower. Our DX 140, another one from the 1 series, comes in at 143 horsepower, being our second biggest one in this lineup. And our largest one, which for some reason doesn't have an image here, is the DX 6.05 at 175 horsepower. In this lineup, we have everything down from tiny little utility tractors that'd be good for a loader tractor or making hay, side raking, all sorts of stuff like that, all the way up to a 175 horsepower tractor, which, you know, that can pull in real life, possibly a 5-bottom plow, depending on the soil layout, 20-foot disc, probably. Again, depending on the soil, quite a few things. So in real life, a 175 horse tractor is a pretty good workhorse tractor for even a decent sized farm, you know, up to maybe 1,000 acres, depending on what you're going for. Now, I would say if I was getting to 1,000 acres, I'd be looking for something bigger, at least something in the 220 to 230 range, just because you start getting into taking a lot longer to complete a lot of relatively simple tasks when you're having to limit yourself to a smaller tractor. But yeah, we'll just go through. I want to, without talking, I just want to go through and show the startup sounds and the running sounds for each of these tractors, just to show that for anyone familiar with the iconic Deutz air-cooled engines, they actually all sound pretty good. That one is nice and beefy. Oh, gotta love that DX1. That sounds exactly like the DX120 that I know and love. Oh, the running sound isn't as good, but the startup sound was pretty much perfect. Oh, that sounds like an 06. Oh boy. That one runs a little bit weirder sound-wise, but I get a kick out of how horsepower-wise they made the 3.65 much larger than I believe it is in real life, as far as horsepower goes, because look at this tiny little guy compared to the rest of them. Even if it had as much horsepower, 120 horsepower like they're saying it does, that would be pretty much useless on a tractor this small and light. Yeah, those DX 6s, they all sound really good. There's our 140. That was hilarious. So, just fun fact there, I'm not sure if the mod author for this particular tractor just has a bad experience, but as long as your starter is working on a Deutz tractor, they start up pretty fast. They don't typically need to crank a whole lot, which is one of the nice things about them. Typically, even in colder weather, they start up pretty dang fast compared to most diesel tractors. So that was interesting. I like that that was added in there just because that's kind of fun. It holds into the immersion of running older tractors like this. But yeah, so that is our comprehensive Deutz DX lineup. Like I said, in here, honestly, if you wanted to for immersion, you could very easily complete... I mean, obviously you probably wouldn't need this many tractors, but this amount of flexibility would give you basically a tractor for any size that you wanted until you start getting to the really, really large equipment. Because obviously, in real life, and especially in Farming Simulator, once you get up to like a 30-foot disc or something like that, it requires a tremendously large tractor. In fact, let's just check on the game here. I'm not in a hurry, are you? So let's see how big of a disc we could pull with that bad boy, because discs are pretty power-intensive, disc arrows. All right, so So we have a 175 horse tractor. So there we've got a 3-meter disc that we could pull. We've got a 4-meter disc that we could pull. There's a 5-meter disc that we would be out of the power range for. Oh, there we've got a 4.5-meter disc that we could pull. All right, so 4.5 meters, was that the biggest one we could do? So you could use this Unia Aries XL disc on that, and that's actually a decent disc. Comes with the baskets on the back, good for smoothing out. I mean, real life. In the game, there's not all that many mechanics. But that's the biggest disc we could pull on this, which, to be fair, that's a decent-sized disc in real life. In the game, of course, it feels very small. But in real life, 4.5 meters is a pretty good span across. It's about 18 feet, give or take. So like I said, unfortunately, one of the things that you will run into in Farming Simulator, if you're not familiar with it, is the fact that they really amp up the required horsepower to do anything. And they do that, obviously, to push you to buy the bigger, more expensive tractors, so that way you have to spend, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars on the stuff that you're trying to do. But that's just a side effect of the gameplay mechanics. Overall, I really enjoyed this. I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this type of video, but this is what I like to do in the game. I like using the older equipment, especially the older tractors, and I like being able to find basically a full lineup like we've done here. So like I said, mod links are in the description, and if you want to check out my real life farming channel, that will also be linked in the description and probably in a pinned comment. But that's all for today. That's the Deutz DX series and Farming Simulator 22. Hope you enjoyed this video, but we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.